In the previous tutorials, we've looked at opening bookmarks and also adding and editing the bookmark list so that you've got quick access to the sites that you use most when you're doing research for your content. In this tutorial, I want to introduce you to the Grabber feature because this is really useful. And if I click on the Grabber button, you'll see that it starts flashing. And what you'll also see is that in this area here, which is called the scratch pad, I've got omega-3 fatty acids listed now at the very top. The reason is that when I clicked on the Grabber button, the Grabber pasted whatever was in the clipboard of my computer. And because that was the last thing I copied from anywhere, it was placed into my scratch pad. Let's just open up, let's go to Brainy Quotes, and we'll open up that website and bring it in. Just close this down for a moment, and I'm going to try and put it over to the right so you can see what happens in the scratch pad. Let's do a search for a quotation, and I'm going to put omega-3 and just see if there is any quotation. Okay, there's nothing there. Not a surprise really. In fact, I spelt it wrong. Omega-3. Let's try again. Okay, we've got omega-3 quote. Now let's suppose that I see one that I like. What I can do is I can just highlight it in the web browser, and this is in Google Chrome. Right click and watch what happens to the scratch pad when I click on the copy. You can see that has just pasted in the quote and the name of the quote, and also we've got here, because this was copied according to the Brainy Quotes website, this was copied as well, read more at. So I've actually got the URL where I can go back. That's not typical for all websites. Let's just go to, let me go to one of my websites and show you if I copy some other content. Let's go to this article. Okay, let's suppose I'm doing my research and I think that this paragraph there is important. I can right click and copy it, and it will then send it to the scratch pad. But I need to be aware of one thing, or wherever the cursor is, that is where the item will be inserted. So if the cursor, let's say, is between those two lines there, when I right click and copy, that is where the paragraph will be inserted. What the Grabber does is it inserts whatever you've got selected and also inserts a blank line so that you can have blank lines between things. Where you need to be careful, let's suppose I have that URL selected, and in fact you can see that it's actually selected. I haven't just got the cursor in a position within the scratch pad, I've actually got that selected there. If I go down and copy another paragraph, you'll see that that URL will actually be overwritten altogether because it's replacing the position of the cursor. So you do need to be a little bit careful with that. Make sure that if you're playing around in here that the cursor is in the position where you want the Grabber to paste the information. So you can go around the web, various websites, find the information that you want, just highlight it, copy, and you'll see it's pasted into the scratch pad. This isn't a license to copy other websites. This is a license to go out and grab information which you can use for research into your own article. But then I don't need to tell you that. So the Grabber is a great way to go out, surf around the web in your preferred browser with your bookmarks and everything else you've got built into your browser, find the information that is important to your article, and then just copy it to the scratch pad. And there you can see everything is just added to the scratch pad so that when we come to write the article, you can easily use the contents of this for your research, and we'll see that in a later tutorial. When you've finished using the scratch pad and the Grabber feature, make sure you click the button to stop the Grabber, otherwise it's going to continue using up resources on your computer.